Today I'm going to show you a Health Canada poll that the agency took about Canadians' views on climate change. There's one big problem with the polling that I think you'll notice as quickly as I did. And then I'll show you why this study did not get published widely. I want to take you through this otherwise unknown Health Canada poll done earlier this year by Environics, and it was clearly tailored to garner the results the government wanted. But even in the end, the disdain for the government from the public could not be parsed out of the data. Look at this. Specific research objectives were to understand the level of awareness of climate change and its health risks and impacts, actions taken to adapt and be more resilient to the health risks or impacts of climate change, trusted sources of media used and other means and opportunities for education and awareness raising, and the public's views on the role of government and non-governmental organizations. 1,520 Canadians were polled for a cost of nearly $120,000. So let's read through the study together and let's see if you can see the problem with this. I noticed it right away. Canadians are increasingly convinced about the phenomenon of climate change. More than 8 in 10 or 85% say climate change is definitely happening, and this belief has steadily increased over time from 69% in 2008 and 79% in 2017. Did you notice the flaw right there? They immediately presume that if you think the climate is changing, the natural default of the study is that it's human caused. They're lumping people who think that climate is an ever-changing cycle composed of far more variables than the size of my comfortable SUV and how much beef I eat, and that I think it may have a lot to do with that big burning ball of gas in the sky, than how much money I send to Trudeau for my climate sins every year. Okay, let's keep going. There has been a substantial jump in the proportion of climate change believers, again, interesting use of that word, who say they have taken steps to protect against the health impacts of climate change, from 38% in 2017 to 59% in 2022. What does that even mean? Wearing sunscreen, wearing a hat more often, going sleeveless, wearing warmer socks, drinking more water? It just might if we look at the next finding. However, many of their reported actions actually relate to mitigation efforts, i.e. reducing the impacts of climate change, rather than protective or adaptive measures. To date, 7% of Canadians have sought medical attention because of a climate change event. Medical attention for climate change, really, for what? Heat stroke, sunburn, frostbite, windburn? These are immediate weather-related harms. They're not climate-related. And the next finding admits as much. They're calling heat stroke a climate change illness. As in 2017, most Canadians can identify at least one symptom of heat illness, particularly dizziness and excessive thirst. Understanding how to protect against heat illness also remains similar to 2017. Staying indoors, 53%, drinking fluids, 52%, remain the most widely mentioned preventative measures. Canadians remain the most likely to consult the internet, followed by their doctor, for more information about heat illness. Wait a minute. If you drink more water and consult Dr. Google or WebMD about dizziness or being outside for too long, that's a climate change related mitigation effort. Now, this next finding is amazing because if you live in a tiny hot apartment on the 20th floor, guess what? Also climate change, indoor temperatures. Increasing temperatures due to climate change and extreme heat events can create difficulties in cooling indoor spaces, which can be harmful to health. 1 in 5 Canadians find it difficult to regulate the indoor temperatures in their main living space in the summer. This skews to residents of apartments and condominiums and those who rent their home, and accordingly to younger Canadians under age 35 and those with lower household incomes who comprise a greater proportion of renters and apartment dwellers. No air conditioning, climate change. The role of federal government. Almost 1 in 5, 18% of Canadians report having visited Health Canada's website in the last year to learn how to protect themselves and their families from climate change. This is higher among BC residents, 26%, who disproportionately experienced the impacts of climate change throughout 2021. Again, what does this mean? This might be capturing people who look at Health Canada for sunburn remedies. Does this also capture people who go to Environment Canada's website to find out if it's going to rain? Now, this is why you didn't see the data trumpeted from the rooftops, besides the obvious flaw in the premise that lumps climate cultists in with people like me who think taxes don't change the weather, but that weather has always changed and we may even be coming out of the last glacial age. Anyway, the federal government receives only modest ratings for protecting Canadians' health from climate change. 1 in 10% feel the government is doing a good job, while 6 in 10 give moderate ratings and 1/4 give negative ones. So more people think the feds are doing a bad job than a good one on the issue of climate change, and even radical skeptics like me can agree with that. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. We uncovered this study data through our ongoing research project. To help fund our access to information research, please consider making a donation to our special website, rebelinvestigates.com.